It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Hey, everybody. It's a good day. Every day. That's my phone again. Goodness gracious. See, I didn't even blame you this time. I just knew. Got a lot to talk about today. First of all, preparing for, we've had a lot of homegoings this week. One just finished up tomorrow, and hopefully True Bethel is big enough to hold it. We say farewell to Jupe. So we dedicate this show today. They said no sound. No sound, no sound. Not online yet. I heard sound.
Okay. I was
Because I had sound on my phone, right?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we, yeah.
Because we were just streaming.
Oh, okay. All right. Saying farewell to Brother Jupe, known around the community as Jupe. His services are tomorrow. His service is tomorrow, a celebration of life. Tomorrow, got a lot of funny stories about Jupe. And he always, I'll probably talk about this a little bit tomorrow, showed up for every homegoing for homicides. He would always show up, and he would come a lot of times before the funeral during times when people are allowed, if the family allows it, to speak. And he would always address young people and the violence and talk about community. That was his big thing. He was one of the co-founders of Stop the Violence Coalition. And as you might start something older, you get you don't want to be bothered with it anymore, but he stayed consistent with it, and others, Pastor Giles and others have stayed consistent over the years. It's a great loss for our community. True Bethel is honored to be asked to host his homegoing celebration. But he used to send me scriptures early in the morning. Y'all know I'm not an early in the morning person. So Jupe had us in the group chat and would send scriptures. I called Jupe one day and said, Jupe, please take me out the chat, please. So he took me out the chat. But he is really, really going to be missed in this community and for what he fought for. So we dedicate today our show to Jupe. Big concerns. You brought it up in the office about New Orleans. Got people down there. I saw some firsthand pictures today of people who are really who live there. And the thing about people in New Orleans, they make a party out of everything.
Anything.
So one of the videos that I was sent was people outside cooking, and they had their propane tank. They had their it was like a grill. I want to say it was like a grill that was heated with propane. They was making some type of something with hamburger in it, and they were talking about, hey, we got to live. We still got to live. But then the next picture is of the neighboring houses that had trees still in hanging out the roof. It's crazy. And you mentioned something about Philly.
Yep.
I didn't realize that New York City had got so much rain.
Yeah, and they were saying that even New York got like 3 inches of rain per minute or per hour, and the drainage system in New York is used to handling like 1.5 inches per hour. So there's parts of New York still flooded. Philly, those who've been to Philly, the Schuylkill Expressway is completely flooded.
Wow.
And the last post I saw this morning literally said the Schuylkill's flooded, and less than 200 feet, they're putting up the stage and the tents for the Made in America concert. So even with
Huh?
the main, even with the main highway cutting across downtown Philly flooded, they're still gonna have the weekend concert.
And what is it called?
It's called the Made in America concert. They started it. It might within the last decade before I moved here, and it was really just the Labor Day concert. And the first one was like the Roots and Jill Scott, and now it's turned into like this 3-day weekend event.
They're talking about New Orleans. Granny Dunn says restaurants did huge barbecue because electric was out. What's up, Jen? What's up, Dwayne? What's up, Carolyn? The house is getting full. House is getting full. Yeah, so I watched that New Orleans thing like I lived there. Like I had it on the Weather Channel for literally for 2 days. And all I could think about is New Orleans. You think about New Orleans, you think about Haiti. These places have been receiving just some devastating weather and having to really get through it. I don't know. I mean, people who live in New Orleans love New Orleans. They love New Orleans. My wife loves New Orleans. And if I lived in New Orleans, I'd probably be moving out.
I'm out.
I gotta go because it gets worse and worse. And, the insurance claims, if you can get insurance in some of those areas, but near the levees and all that kind of stuff. But people who love it, love it. I like visiting. I do enjoy visiting, but I ain't trying to stay around in this kind of weather, man. You got to be a snowbird for real in a different sense,
Well, and just like the coach I was telling you about, whose mom is still down there, and he said, people always ask me from back home, how can I live in Buffalo? It's super cold. And he said, well, I don't have to evacuate and come back to a house with no electric and 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
So I'll take shoveling out over having to clean up my house 2 to 3 times every couple of years with no AC.
Yeah, I get it, but the shoveling out for me, nah. Like I'm already freaking out because I went to Home Depot and they already, of course, have the snow blowers out. Had like 2 grills left and snow blowers out. The snow blowers, really, and probably by next week they'll have the Christmas trees up.
Absolutely, especially with this temperature dropping to 50s in the morning. You just don't know what's around the corner.
Yes. I want to talk a little bit about. I got a lot on this list. They're calling it now, and I know we talk about it a lot, but I got to keep talking about it. Vaccine hesitant people, and there is going to start being some flyers handed out. There's these little cards they're going to be handing out in certain communities with people who were once vaccine hesitant. Now, I know people get tired of me talking about this, but we are still burying people who have contracted COVID every single week almost. And this is real. It is so real. And I have heard all of the theories. I have heard, all of what's out in social media and all that kind of stuff. But this is, I'm going to say it, and you don't have to take it. I'm just saying it. Especially if you got loved ones that depend on you. And I want you to just think, if I die, what happens to them? And I can't say it enough. I cannot say it enough. If you're not going to get the vaccine, at least make sure you have insurance. I hate to say that. I had on here about I think they're doing an insurance month, insurance awareness month. That was going to be one of my last topics, but that just seems to connect. If you are not going to get the vaccine and you have children, you have a spouse that depends on you, at least get the vaccine, get insurance. Why are we so hesitant? Not just the vaccine, but even insurance. Like, I'd say probably more than half of the people whose services we do don't have insurance. Don't have insurance.
I can believe that.
And I'm not sure of why. One thing that is going to happen in your life is you're going to pay taxes and you're going to die. So I'm not sure why we are hesitant especially when you're young, Insurance does not cost that much. Now, I understand for those who are really, really, really struggling, but folks, $15 a month, $20 a month to at least bury you. Now, I've heard people say, well, that ain't gonna be my problem, I'll be dead. All right. I think when people have that attitude, and if they say that when they pass, I'm not going broke.
Right.
I'm not going broke. When your attitude was, I ain't gonna be here. Okay, let's do something a lot less expensive. I don't think that having insurance is just about your funeral. That's 1 hour of one day, and they're gonna bury you or cremate you or do whatever, and they're gonna walk away. What I do not understand is why people will not get insurance.
I think
I don't understand.
I think it's the same reason why we don't. Well, we struggled before in getting black investment because we struggle with that foresight of investing into something I don't have right now. So it's that immediate gratification that we kind of always talk about.
Yeah.
So because it's not tangible or I don't need it, because most of the same people who don't have life insurance
Yeah.
probably go 1 month of the year within car insurance because they're like, well, if I total it, then it'll be somebody else's problem. So
but you can't even go without car
I
insurance.
know. Trust me, you know,
Yeah, you lose your registration. They make you turn in your plates. You can't. But life insurance, you end up. I don't know. I don't. Anybody got the answer? Is it the cost? I mean, I understand if you got health issues. Now, I think I shared I got more life insurance in the last year after COVID. I went out and got more life insurance, and this is from a guy who has half a lung, but I still qualified. I'm sure they're charging me more, and I'm 56, so I'm definitely paying more. But I've had life insurance, I don't know, since I was 19 years old. And part of the reason I was in the Air Force. And, I was concerned about, if something happened to me. And in the Air Force, they would have paid a certain amount to my family, but it ain't nothing, big. Somebody just said on Facebook, no, lack of education not being taught. Somebody else, Carolyn Lane, said that Veronica Ivy says it's one way the wealthy build wealth.
Absolutely.
Sharon Martin says these young folks are just not getting it. It's just sad. And I think that was about the COVID stuff, about the vaccine. Why do you think?
I agree with Mark.
Let me get your mic on. Go. Yep, say it again.
Just pull it closer.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. No, I agree with Mark. I think that we're not going to see anything right away. So it's like, well, and then some people think like, oh, well, you're going to get all of this money when I die and I don't get anything right now. I ain't giving them that when
Wow.
yeah, I think, and only because I've heard these things being said, or I've been in a room and hear my grandmother talk about her life insurance, my great grandmother, and they paid for their plots, they paid for their funeral, and then you had some family members like, we don't want to talk about it because it's death or it's bringing you death. In black cultures, like they feel like if you talk about death, then it's going to happen, but it's going to happen anyways.
Right.
But it's just, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to deal with
Well,
that.
and I think that hesitancy to talk about death with our families is a lot of times what leads to the drama when somebody passes.
Yeah.
And now everybody's trying to make decisions based on where their emotions are, instead of saying, here, I'm going to die one day, and this is what it is. And this is what I want. And at least, again, folks, now I haven't paid for, you could prepay for your funeral, number one. Obviously, you can start in installments now. I ain't doing all that. I ain't prepaying. But I did prepay for the mausoleum. I wanted to be in the mausoleum. I prepaid for that so that nobody had to guess. And the mausoleum is like real estate. You actually get papers because you can sell a mausoleum just like you do a house.
Wow.
So I could sell it. And for what I paid for it many years ago, I would not be able to afford it now. It's outrageous. The prices are high, but at the end of the day, that part was important to me. The where my body would lie, but the insurance part of just insuring yourself, just anything can happen tomorrow.
Taught me.
Absolutely.
And so I was younger, so it's less, those payments, but the fear of dying is much less.
Yeah.
Because my biggest fear of I never had a fear of dying until I had kids.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, oh, okay, I feel a little more at peace at whatever. I can live peacefully.
Yeah.
Knowing that if something happens tomorrow, the burden, and I hate to say it that way, but the burden of raising children, they're expensive. It
Absolutely.
wouldn't just be on somebody. My kids aren't going to get treated worse because you're a burden. You have something to carry. And so it makes me feel better. But again, I had to have someone to have that conversation with me.
Yeah. And as while before you get in, this is to the radio audience, before you get to 56, make sure you got insurance.
Yeah.
Because the price goes up the older you are. And even if you, I probably should give a shout out to our insurance agent here who belongs here. I got several, but one who is very active in getting people insurance. So if, Danetta, if you listen back, if you bring me her name, but there's no excuse even if you don't know an insurance agent. Because the last policy I got it right offline.
Right.
Went to you can go to one of these places that pick an insurance company for you based on what you want. But I also have a local agent. So I have the one that I forgot I had. Remember I told you money was coming out of my account?
Oh, yeah.
That was my insurance. I hope they didn't stop it.
Oh, right. You did show me that.
Yeah. So I looked, I'm like, why? Somebody didn't scam my account. I got this money coming out from Prudential. But I also have a local agent who I can go into the office, who I can talk to, who helps make, a lot of people don't realize this, who helps me make financial decisions also. He has a financial person in his office. Had him for years and years. And so there's just no excuse. It's so easy now to go online and to look for someone. But I'm going to push, and I'm going to tell you why before I get off. I'm pushing, go to an agent, especially an agent that supports your community. Because we're going to talk a little bit about Black Wall Street in a minute.
I think also because you could talk about life insurance, but you also have a good percentage of the population that don't carry or care about regular health insurance. And
But you got to have that too, right?
Well, you would think, but people don't. And then you end up in the hospital with, so it's the propensity of a bunch of issues. So I ended up in the hospital because I'm sick. Now I don't have health insurance. Now I have medical bills that are now on my credit. And so now again, you have to live in a community that you shouldn't probably be living in, but because of your credit, now you have other health determinants that it's just this big snowball effect by
Especially
not
for-
having the common sense insurances.
Yeah.
Or the money. $29 a month may not seem like a lot to people, but there are families
Absolutely.
where I can't afford that. Now, if I'm 50, it's $40 a month.
Right.
And so you need every single penny. So a lot of it is just, it's poverty. Like you just
Yeah.
can't afford to pay for something. I get it and it's important, but in the mentality of I have to eat, I have to buy tissue, I
Absolutely.
have to buy, and that is expensive. You have people that like, you know how you did the legislation for the Lucy cigarettes, right? There are stores that sell Lucy toilet paper.
I know.
They do.
And I know I had to. I was in a position before where I had to buy that. It's $1, right?
Right.
And so that'll last you for this, and you calculate it out. So when it comes to life insurance, especially like what Mark said. If I'm not seeing where my money is going right now,
Yeah.
I really can't afford to. And yeah.
And I agree, and that's what I mean. I totally agree, and it's funny you say that because when I was really on the stores about selling individual items, the reason I backed off, and I don't really mess with it unless it's a health issue, was because someone said to me that by the time I get to the end of the month, I can't afford a box of Pampers. So if I go to the store, they'll open up one and sell them
5.
individually.
Yeah.
So you know what I said? Stop it. I left it alone because then I had to hear it a different way, and it wasn't somebody attacking me.
Right.
It was somebody who was being honest. Like, wow, when you told them, when you shut that store down from doing that, I don't know where to get Pampers, so I go to another one that does it, and so I'm not saying I'm thrilled about the practice. I will say I understand the practice now, and when you understand that, then you kind of change your way of thinking. And when you talk about insurance, the reason this is so important, folks, is because just like somebody said, it's one of the ways that wealth is, but it is about how we're leaving our children. And then that takes them into another downward spiral when they've already suffered so much. And when you lose a parent and you're young, and nothing is left, and now it's up to everybody else, that's tough. So we got to start having these conversations, having the conversation with our circle, our cousins, our nieces, our children, to make sure that happens. Carolyn Lane says understanding is the key. Kamal on Facebook is saying death is part of this process called life. It definitely is. So vaccine hesitant, I got to think about it, and I am not one for, at this point, for forcing the vaccine, but I want everybody to remember almost all of us have a little circle on our arms from different vaccines. That after a while, because of the death rate, the government had to make a decision in order to keep people alive. And I'm not being morbid, I'm being honest. Every time I go to that casket to close the casket and I hear the cries of family members, it breaks my heart that a shot could have prevented it. Now you can get COVID again. You can get one of the TV stations did an interview with a woman in Niagara Falls who is in the hospital right now. And I believe, I may be telling it a little wrong, that she had COVID before, did not get vaccinated, got it again. Now, when your lungs are already kind of messed up from the last time you had it, you got to think about, can my body deal with this again? So there's a new variant now called Mu, I think. New variant. And guess what? It's in Colombia. Yeah. So this new variant, we got Delta out here. Now we've got Mu on the way. It's like, what I don't want to see is me being silent about it and then our children out of school again. Because our kids cannot afford to, and I mean this, afford in every way. Because those private schools will stay in. The public schools will be out. Our children already are going to be in a very tough situation going back to school. And I just don't want to see them out of school again. The Governor Kathy Hochul, has signed an order that allows for government bodies to have virtual meetings again. I don't know whether the council will go into virtual. I want to watch the numbers. But she gives a pretty interesting take in that people who it's tough to get into places like a city hall because they're in wheelchairs, or having that they're able to participate in government more virtually.
I agree.
So I'm torn. I should make. I mean, obviously, this Tuesday's. What do we have? We have council this
Full
Tuesday.
council.
Will be a regular council meeting, and the reason is right now our AV system is really goofed up at the council. But what I do want to do is I'm going to explore it, and I don't know. What do people think out there? Would you rather us go back to? Do you think we should go back to virtual, and do you participate more and watch more on virtual, or what? It's going to be what I have to have a conversation with my colleagues. Janique Curry says life insurance is a necessity. We pay insurance on our cell phones, yeah, our cars, our homes. Not everybody pays on their homes, and even our jewelry. Oh, I know. And may never make a claim, but the one claim you are certain to make is when you die, do you need your legacy? Do you need, for your legacy? Call me if you are in need of life or health insurance. All right, here it is. Janique Curry says, I am a licensed agent in several states.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that
That's
either.
cool.
I had no idea. So you can call Janique. You can inbox her right there on Facebook. Or Janique, if you have a business phone number, throw it up there. Don't put your cell phone number, but if you have a business phone number, throw it up there in the comments. Carolyn Lane says, I have 4 friends who have COVID, and they have or had shots, and they reached out to me to make me aware to be safe either way. I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Whether you have been vaccinated, you see, I still got my little thing. I took it off to do the show, but I still wear my mask or have it with me. There are times I went in the store the other day. I didn't have it on, but I was distanced. But once I got into line, I put it back on because I really, to be honest, should always have it on out in public. But I don't sometimes, but I always have it with me because I think it's necessary.
And I'll tell you this. So last night I was in a store, and I was in one aisle, and I saw the 2 kids that walked in front of me. So I'm just louded out. I was in there real quick, and all of a sudden I heard both of them start coughing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no. I literally took what I had in my hand, went right to the register. I was like, yeah, I'm out. I'm not doing this.
It's difficult because I still got this, for some reason, dry cough. And I was on the phone with somebody the other day, a business call, and I couldn't stop coughing. And I thought it necessary to say, oh, I don't have COVID. But I was on the phone. It was on the phone. And I still felt it was so necessary to say it. And I was on a regular landline, so I couldn't run in the kitchen and get water. And the more that they were asking me questions, and I had been on hold literally for 50 minutes. 50 minutes. So I didn't want to start all over. You sit there and listen to that elevator music for 50 minutes, and then you finally get somebody on, and then you start coughing. Oh man,
you have to deal with this cough. I ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Yeah. So I had to explain that. Cameras are down, as you know, that they have not been operational, but the contract, I believe, is taking them down now. Speed readers started going up, which was our request from the council. We wanted the speed. Well, was the vote. It wasn't the request. It was the demand for the council that the speed readers are going up. The striping is happening right now. Yep. The first speed reader went up on Bailey Avenue in the University District. It was our request because that was one of the more controversial locations. So that was the request of the council, and it is is being done as we speak. Big ups to Commissioner Mike Finn, because he's been in touch and saying, hey, this is where we're at. We're not going to get every school done, obviously, right away, but all of the schools that had cameras are the first priority. And then the school superintendent reached out to me this week to ask for enhancements around Hutch Tech, Bedelia, because you got this area that you got all of these schools, right, and you got a lot of fast traffic. And talked to Mike. Mike said that they had reached out already again, and they're working on that to get the contractor over there. So I got to say a big ups to Commissioner Finn for making this happen quick, like making it happen. And I want people to know that the speed readers, well, yeah, that will be up like around Delaware Park. They will not ticket you, but they will to remind you of how fast you're going. Those were paid for by council members out of their discretionary funds. Am I correct, Mark?
Yes, that is correct.
So this wasn't out of the city budget. Council members who were concerned about safety. So those folks out there who say, well, y'all not concerned about safety. That's not true. But those were paid for by your individual council members out of their discretionary money. So big ups to the council members who thought that this was important to do. I know many of you may know, may not. I can't go too deep in it because it will be, seems like will be pending litigation. But I will say that there is a lawyer in New York who defended a person who got a couple tickets. And what she found after she asked for, we keep talking about lawyers and the difference of having a lawyer. We talked about it with Buffalo 5 last week. She found that the cameras, according to her, allegedly, I got to say allegedly, because obviously if there's a lawsuit, so I'm going to be real, I'm going to say what's out there in the public domain. That she found that according to the legislation for the cameras, they had to be manually calibrated. So basically making sure that they're accurate, making sure that if it caught you at 50 miles an hour, that you were actually doing 50 miles an hour. Now, when I was a police officer in the Air Force, we had to calibrate the radar guns. And there was a certain way, and I can't even remember at this point how we calibrated. But before we went out on the street and ran radar, we had to calibrate the radar and certify that that radar was accurate. Well, according to what is in the public domain, she found that, she claims that they were not being calibrated manually. They were being calibrated like through a computer system. And she got the 2 tickets thrown out. Now there is a class action lawsuit, which means basically everybody who got a ticket, if your camera was not, is their argument, was not manually calibrated, they want the money returned to everyone. So allegedly, that's about $2 million. I don't have that for a fact. I don't know the number. I'm sure it will be brought up to the council. But one good thing about it, thank God that we stopped that program before the city got $10 million and spent $10 million, and then we're really out there. So all of this is in the public domain. I want to say this again. I have not drawn a conclusion on it. I don't have the evidence yet, and there more than likely will be litigation. So I don't really discuss items that are being litigated. But that's in the public domain. Now, I guess I'm getting $50 back. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Okay, Shaggy.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Had my registration, but it wasn't me. See, I'm telling somebody did a freedom of information. Who all got tickets? Yes.
But it was not.
It wasn't me.
It really wasn't.
Not in that one. Not in the one with my registration. But it wasn't me with another one. Maxine Murphy says, instead of buying 3 packs of cigarettes, beer, and other stuff, let's put our money where it is needed. Life insurance. Let's stop taking up offerings at funerals. Ooh. Carolyn Lane says, no, Janique threw her number out there, folks. Her business line, 245-5554, 245-5554. Business line. Oh, and I definitely agree. There is more participation in government when the platform is online. But we're still online when we're live, right? Well, we had trouble last week, the last time we met.
No, we stream.
I thought we had some trouble.
You know what? It was streamed
it was
because
some
we were
audio.
able
But they couldn't
to
hear. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. She said, I watched the council and committee meetings. All right. We're going to take some stuff into advisement. That's what I want to hear from the people. Power to the people. I want to hear from the people. So, so it probably will be a lawsuit. Before I get to this Black Wall Street, I want to thank the volunteers who are in the back right now. They have 900 pairs of sneakers
Wow.
donated from you all. Thank you so much. So we are actually going to be out in the street on Saturday, September 4th.
Tomorrow.
Oh, I ain't put that on my schedule. We got a lot going on because I've got the funeral. I wanted to really be out. Saturday, September 4th. We're going to be starting off, please help us get out the word, at Ferry Grider at 10 a.m. I can be over in Ferry Grider. And we're going to be parked in the back. Big ups to the president of the Tenants Association over at Ferry Grider. He came over. He goes to True Bethel. We're excited to go over. We're feeding. Listen, this is going to be a whole thing. Now, we're only going to be over there about an hour and a half. We've got sneakers. The volunteers are in the back right now, sizing them up so that you don't have to wait. We know where the 9s are. We know where the 7s are. Removing those that if we wouldn't wear them, we're not taking them out to anybody else. So we're removing those, and it's very few of those. Like, people brought in a lot of new stuff, and I'm thankful. And I've got to say this because the people of True Bethel have just been tremendous. True Bethel spent money to buy new sneakers so that we had enough out there. We will then be at Jasper Parish, so we're going to the other side of town at 12 p.m. We want to make sure that people know we will be at Jasper Parish. Now, not only are they giving away sneakers that have been donated, we are also giving away, we'll be feeding these kids' favorite meal, some of the taco in the back. I can't
Kids
stand
and
it.
adults.
I hate it. I am not
Such a
reaching.
guilty pleasure. It's so easy.
You got to stick your fingers
No,
down
the
in.
fork. You use the fork.
You can't get nachos
like-
up with a fork.
Yes, you can.
Ugh.
Oh my
I
gosh.
hate it. What do they do?
That's
Crunch up
like
the?
fat girl moment of my life. It's eating taco in a-
Do they crunch up the
Yes,
tacos and then
yes.
put the ground
Yeah,
beef?
so you get a spoon, but I like using a fork, and then you put all of the taco ingredients inside of this bag, and you mix it up, and it's so good.
Well,
But I can't eat it. But
yeah, taco in a bag and book bags full. And I can't thank True Bethel enough. I did a video yesterday with Ashley. I want to thank Ashley. True Bethel did 500. They bought 500. Ellicott District bought 1,000, right?
1,000.
So Ellicott District bought 1,000 and distributed them out to all of the not all of the groups, to groups in Ellicott. We got, what do we have over there left, 30 or something?
No, we won't have.
We're done?
By 2:00, everything will be gone.
So 1,000 are out there on the street from Ellicott, 500 going out tomorrow from True Bethel. Got to say big ups to Mount Aaron, who called, and Pastor Jones sent 200. 100 were delivered from someone from the PAL. And so we just want to thank everybody who has participated. Oh, and Duncan. Duncan sent over bags, and True Bethel again bought supplies for him. So the reason I'm not bragging about True Bethel, I'm thankful to pastor a church in which the people are concerned about other people. That's all. That's all.
And they have kids of their own. We all do.
Yeah.
So for us to, us and I mean True Bethel,
Yeah.
for True Bethel to take away their kids' school money or, some sneakers, because those were really good things that they gave.
Yeah.
It's a lot because people don't have to.
And we didn't raise it for True Bethel.
Right.
Like, okay, we're gonna collect it and we're just gonna give it to our children.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Like it's so many children in True Bethel
Yes.
that are school age, so many adults.
Yes.
And they're more concerned about the community.
Absolutely.
And I think that comes with the faith and the teaching. Like,
Yeah.
They know you teach, the more that you give to everyone else, the more God will take care of you.
And God will take care of you because he knows you'll take care of somebody else.
Absolutely.
I had to figure that out, and I try to get that through people's heads because some people want to be rich, just be rich. I want money. I want when I ask God, and I always say this, I do desire God to give me more so that I can give more, that I can give. I want him to give True Bethel more so that we can give more and we can help more. But, at the end of the day for me, and I say this all the time, it is about building people, not just feeding them, not just giving them things, but what else you going to do for them? What do you do for their mind? What do you do for their body? What do you do for their soul? And so, big ups. Thank you, True Bethel. So again, tomorrow we will be at Ferry Grider at 10 a.m. and then at Jasper Parish at 12 p.m. So thank you and big ups. Now I got to put my glasses on. Give me my readers out of there because my other glasses, they just stay so. I put my fingers, they're not in there. I thought I put my little pair of readers. No, okay, no, that's all right. I must not have a problem. Black Wall Street. Let's talk a little bit about money. I didn't even know Ebony still existed.
On the magazine?
Yeah. You didn't either? I got an email, from Ebony. I didn't know you could just go online and go to ebony.com. And so there's this article by a man by the name of Hill Harper, award-winning actor,
I know Hill.
best-selling author, entrepreneur. He's currently stars in The Good Doctor, and blah, 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 blah. And he talks about we can build cross-generational wealth one step at a time. In 2011, he published a best-selling financial literacy book. And he says today, 10 years later, it seems the questions around financial literacy are on everyone's mind. As we emerge from the global pandemic, there are so many questions about financial foundation. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Let me get to the points of what he talks about. He talks about, and don't turn off the radio now. Stay with me when we talk about some serious things. The emergency fund. He says the global pandemic demonstrated how vital it is to build savings that will not be touched unless it is absolutely necessary. I call this your emergency fund. This fund should have enough money to cover at least 6 months of living expenses, which is calculated by adding all your expenses for 1 month and then multiplying it by 6. Now, for in many communities, it's a stretch. Mm-hmm. But let's talk realistic, because one of the things he talks about is consistently putting away a certain amount of money every single month. And I'm going to say this. When I was younger, I didn't do that. I've worked since I was 14 years old. I worked from the first week that I got my working papers. But I never really saved. And I really didn't start putting money away until I was in my 30s. To be very, very frank and honest. I didn't. I spent it. Yeah. I spent it. And now when I look back at when people would say, if you just put away this little amount over this amount of time and you invested or, put it in a mutual fund, this is where you'll be. Who is listening to that? I wasn't. I was buying stereos and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Of which I still have, by the way. I throw nothing
of course
away.
You do.
This is
I still have
everything.
If I bought it, unless it rotted away, that's why we need a big house. We outgrowing that one. I got stuff all over.
We literally did not have to buy any furniture for
Yeah.
that house.
Yeah, because I don't throw
We
anything
had
away.
my apartment and
My
his two
places. Yeah.
houses. It was a relief to have that
And we just
house
moved
together.
in. We just moved in. Although we are going to buy a new couch because that one couch, it's been seen better days. Better days. Better days. So he talks about an emergency fund. And I think realistically, at least have a month.
Yeah.
You know, in certain areas, at least you got to have a month in the bank. Anything can happen. Then he talks about smart money versus dumb money. And he says all money is not equal. Most everyone has been taught wrongly that a dollar is a dollar, but that is not true. There are smart dollars and dumb dollars, and knowing how to differentiate between the two is a valuable tool in building a sound financial foundation in your life. Smart money has equal or greater value the next morning than when you went to sleep. For instance, using your pool of money to buy $150 worth of shares of Nike stock rather than using the same amount to buy actual Nike sneakers.
Completely agree.
Come on. And it's too
That's a
easy
word.
now.
No, that's a word.
Yes, come on.
Ooh.
Nike stock pays a dividend while you sleep.
Yep.
Versus Nike footwear that depreciates instantly as soon as you wear them.
Absolutely.
The goal is to save and invest as many smart dollars as possible. Now, let me say this about investing. You take a chance. I have Ameritrade and I have Robinhood. I don't even know why I got Robinhood. I need to get rid of that Robinhood stuff. But at the
Let's
end
be
of the
honest,
day,
you did it for the big currency.
Yes.
I did it for the big currency and I lost on the big currency. I lost. So investing, you can lose if you don't know what you're doing.
Now, I will say the sneaker game.
Yeah.
You can resell a $150 pair of sneakers for $1,000 if you keep them.
If you keep them in the
Yeah, if
box.
you keep 'em up.
Yeah. And you keep them up, no creases and don't.
Or you could sell them for $500 if they have a crease or something. So the game is, I mean, if you're going to do it that way, but just to have them to wear them,
So you mean them 900 sneakers in the back? I could have sold them.
you can still. They're-
That's not going to happen. But that is, you are totally correct. I've seen people selling them.
what
But you
he's saying
understand
is,
what he's saying.
Yeah.
That instead of just spending money, you got it. Now, I'm not, I got friends. Rashid is big in doing the stock market. He loves it. He pays attention to it all day. I can't. I don't. So
Yeah, that's
we
a
don't even
stressful
have that
thing.
discussion. I told him before, listen, bruh, don't call me with nothing else, no hot stock. I got my own portfolio. Now, I have a very steady portfolio of companies that are probably going to be around. Rashid will take greater risks, and he's going to make more money.
Do you have
And
the
that-
average healthy stock portfolio? Where
Yes.
You're looking at 5 years. How have they done or
Exactly.
what they can do?
Like I don't need to look at my portfolio every day because it ain't growing that much. It's gonna, but it ain't. I'm not losing anything.
And I think, like you said, that's the importance. You have to realize, am I a day trader?
Yeah.
Or I'm playing it conservative for the end game
Absolutely.
when I'm done working.
But the greatest investments I have, I don't control them. They're mutual funds. Let somebody who this is what they know how to do. Because when everybody was running to me about what Doggy Coin, Dodge Coin, whatever it's called,
Get it.
Doggy
And,
coin.
I jumped.
GameStop.
I jumped in. Oh, we ain't even gonna talk about
let's
GameStop.
not bring that up.
Oh no,
That's like the
oof.
R word, jumped.
No, gosh.
I mean, I made money, but
I ain't even gonna tell no story. I ain't make nothing. I took a little bath. I took a bath and then I got rid of it. And now I don't even want to hear about no more crypto, none of it. He says that the goal is to save and invest smart dollars as possible and spend as few dumb ones as you can. You have a relationship to money. And just like a personal relationship, the smart and disciplined choices you make will determine how healthy that relationship is.
That's so true.
Then he talks about this, and I won't go deep into this, but we'll finish up the conversation. Dollar cost average. He says, whether you are talking about regular savings or investing, my favorite recommendation is dollar cost average, DCA. When you DCA, you are setting aside a regular amount of funds to invest in a mutual fund, ETF stock, or even a simple savings account. I always say that saving and investing a regular amount either every day, every week, every month is a great way to approach building a solid financial foundation. He's totally correct. My savings come straight out, just like my tithes and offerings. I do not trust myself to save
Absolutely.
my money. So probably for the last 10 years, it comes, I sound like whatever the comedian was like, my checking and my savings. It comes
Kevin Hart.
directly every time. I ain't going to say the frequency. It is consistent. And I do not touch it because I know me. I know me. And if I get a hold of some money, and I'm not even a big spender, I'm going to find some gadget that I really, really need. I'm going to really
Always a
need
gadget.
that gadget.
It's
My
always a
life
gadget.
is going to depend on me getting that gadget or the tool. I love tools. So whenever I buy tools, and I'll be like, I really need this. I really need this. She'd be like, mm-hmm. And then when I use it, I'll be like, see, I told you I was going to need this.
How often do you use it though?
That time, maybe a week.
No, 1 or 2 times or 3 times, and then when I need
that
it.
week.
And then when I need it, and that's it. Like I still have a paintbrush. You ain't throw out my paintbrush, did you?
Still in the refrigerator.
My
Is that the
paintbrush has
one
been
you're
in the
talking about?
refrigerator for like
In the
a month.
refrigerator?
Yeah, that's where you leave your paintbrush if you're gonna use it again, and you got paint on it. And then you ain't got it. Yeah, that my father taught me that. So I have a paintbrush
Learn something
because
new
I
every week.
started doing refinishing the table, and then I got kind of bored, and then I didn't finish it, so I put the
I
paintbrush.
saw that in there. I said, what?
I put the paintbrush in the refrigerator. You just wrap it in a little plastic.
Wow.
And you
I've
put it in the
never heard
refrigerator.
that before.
It's still soft. Still soft a month later.
I didn't want to touch it.
Yeah. So I know what happens if I get money. I don't go out and buy clothes. When I buy clothes in bulk.
You do.
Sure do.
I'll go and buy 8 pairs of jeans at one time so that I never have to go back to so if the styles change, I go buy them all at one time and then I'm done. I'm done. If I buy suits, I'm buying them in bulk. I'm being done. I cannot stand going to stores.
Same.
I can't stand. When I tell you I am the ordering king right now, and let me say to this okay. So he talks again about this article in Ebony about Black Wall Street and about using our money with each other also. And I always say we're the worst critics of each other.
Absolutely.
We can go to a black restaurant. If one thing is wrong, it's like, I ain't going there. We're going to spread it to everybody not to go there. Only person, if you don't like it, you just don't like it.
Right.
But when you tear down a business to the point where they can't function and they can't improve, all we've done is further devastate our own communities.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it was just recently in a conversation because we were frequently going to this black establishment on the weekend, me and some of the coaches. Then one of the coaches was like, hey, man, they're closed for the next 2 weeks because the family is going to take a vacation. And it was like, see, and then the conversation started with, well, if the whole community started supporting our black restaurants and businesses, then they can hire the additional management and staff so the owners
Absolutely.
can go on vacation and not have to shut down the establishment. And so I think everyone is having this conversation,
Yeah.
but it's how do you change the mindset in our community?
Well, yeah, that, and I want to say this to my brothers and sisters who have businesses. This is 2021. Almost everything is done through internet.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have an internet presence, if I can't order online, if I can't see your menu online, if I'm going to go someplace else where I can. And so if I had to give anybody out there who has a business, small business, if you're going to invest in anything, don't invest in longer eyelashes, don't invest in red bottoms.
Oh, shoot.
Don't listen. I'm trying to tell y'all the truth. Now listen, I'm trying to tell you. Somebody got to teach this. Invest in somebody who's going to put you online the right way.
Pope and Associates.
He will do it. Mark has done it for several businesses. At the end of the day, people should be able to order online. People should be able to read about your business online. I really tried to deal with several restaurants yesterday, didn't I? I ain't gonna say,
baby.
but they didn't have. They either weren't online, their hours were not consistent. You get on Yelp and closed, or we don't have. What do you want me to do when you got several people ordering? the old way just ain't, and you can survive with it, but I'm just suggesting to you that you got to spread out. We got to spread our wings. But I'm pushing African American. I'm pushing businesses that invest in our community.
Absolutely.
Because right now we got, and I don't think we should be ashamed to talk about African American businesses in particular. Absolutely. People who have had the short end of the stick for a very long time. Period. But if you living in my community, you giving in my community, you going to church in my community, you getting your hair cut in my community, whatever it is, I'm down for you. But I have to be able to push those who've been struggling a long time and say how we tear each other down sometime. Carolyn Lane says, yes, I agree. Keep it within your household. About black business. If you don't like them, if you don't like them, Monique and I can talk about it. What I'm not going to do is get on the radio and dog out another business. Right. I'm talking about the business in general where we got to get to. But you notice I ain't say no names because that's not fair.
And people
that's
can
just not
say
fair.
To me, I'm going here. I may not go.
Right.
I'm not going to say I'm not going there to
right.
my cousin or even,
right. Or you shouldn't.
Yeah, to someone on the street or walking up to the door. Don't go in there,
Absolutely.
girl. Like no.
Absolutely horrible. Veronica Ivy says Hill Harper was at an Invest Fest that I went to. They spoke about keeping stocks for at least 20 years. Instead of selling them. I ain't getting that other stock. Lady P, we call him the Gadget King. That was Sharon Martin. I got to get ready to go. Don't forget, we'll be at Ferry Grider tomorrow, 10 a.m. Jasper Parish with the sneakers, with book bags, with food. All the book bags are packed and ready to go. Thank you to Hobson's, the Doctor of Dry Cleaning, 874 East Delavan. Thank you, Hobson's. Please, they keep it in the community. They have invested in this community and didn't leave. Brian K. Lewis, 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey. In your hour of need, Brian K. Lewis. This week they took care of in the last. I got a bug flying. Baby boy Hussein, baby boy Parvin, baby boy. Several children. Ashika Parvin and Corvante Jones. I got to go. Until next week, power to the people.